All right, my bladed brothers. A little bit, we're going to do this video a little bit differently. I'm going to have a full video on Polish custom knives pretty soon here, but I want to give you a little bit of backstory. If you don't know me, I own Exodus Knife and Tool. I own my own knife brand. And yet I am constantly looking for new knife makers, new knives. I'm constantly promoting new knife makers and different knife brands because I truly love knives. It is an addiction. It is not logical, but I am constantly on the lookout, and I'm constantly trying to help good people in the industry because it is a cutthroat industry. Well, I was scrolling a while back and I found Polish custom knives, and I was looking at the prices and I was blown away. Now, the shipping from Polish custom knives from Poland is 70 bucks. That's pretty expensive. However, still the prices that I found were excellent. So I reached out to them and I was like, hey, I would like to review some of the knives from the custom makers that you guys carry. Would you like to send me some knives? They said yes. One of the knives that I asked for was this Expendables by Zapas. I apologize if I am destroying the name of your brand, but this is the Expendables. They sent it out. That is what today's video is about. I'm a big fan, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let's do what we're here to do. Let's talk about this knife. Stick around, we're going to roll the intro, but you're going to want to watch this, especially if you have a similar addiction as I do. Hello, you're watching the Prepper's Bunker Outdoors, and I am your host, Jacob Peterson. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this channel, please do the whole thumbs up and subscribe and bell thing, and consider checking the description box below to see how you can support the channel. Not only do I have affiliate links and a Patreon, but primarily this channel is made possible by sales through my website, Exodus Knife and Tool, where I sell premium American-made knives, and Beach and Tactical, where I sell premium custom made-to-order rifle slings made and designed by myself as well. For the month of May 2023, the channel sponsor is Kami Cleanser Soap. This is the only soap that I have used for months now. No body wash, no shampoo, none of that fake crap, just Kami Cleanser Soap. And if more people were buying from small mom and pops businesses that bring to light the issues of the giant corporations and government figureheads that we deal with every day today, the world would be a better place. Get yourself some Kami Cleanser Soap. Let's get you right back to the content. So I have used this knife for a number of things. In fact, I've used this knife at this point more than I typically would have before an initial impressions review. But I've been super swamped, so my videos have been a little slow to come out. But I've just kept using the knife because I enjoy it. I've done, notches for traps and snares, lots of feather sticks, lots of food prep, lots of fire prep. And I have been thoroughly enjoying the knife. This O2 tool steel so far, I think it's fantastic, and man, does it take a psycho edge very easily. So let's talk about the blade here. Hopefully my camera is focusing. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to flip my screen out, which is going to make me inadvertently look at my screen sometimes, but that will be worth it to make sure that we're actually focusing on what I want to focus on here. So let's see, can we do it? Can we do it? We can, do it. No, not tracking, okay, tracking cancel. There we go. All right, so the blade, all right, this is a saber ground blade. It's got a bit of heft to it. It looks chunkier than it is because of the way that the jimping is put in here, but it is not necessarily a chunky blade. Edge thickness is not bad. It's always very hard to show edge thickness, guys. Like, no matter what, it's always hard to really show edge thickness here. But we've got a fantastically sharp knife. beautifully finished, no choil. There's a sharpening choil, no finger choil, but blade geometry is good. Blade geometry is simple. I would very easily put this knife into a category either of bushcraft or survival knives. Moving on to the handle, and I'm going to include the jimping in the handle because it has to do with handle comfort. The handle, as you can see here, is fairly square, but a fairly square handle can be comfortable if it's shaped right, if it's the right height and the right width, etc. So we've got relatively thin scales here, and overall, the ergonomics are not top of the line. They are not 3D contoured to fit into my hand like a doggone glove. But I'm here to tell you, that's okay. I just dropped the Kydex sheath. That's all right. It doesn't need to be. I think it's a very comfortable handle. I think that it's very nicely made, very nicely finished. Again, we're going to talk about this as it relates to price point, and for the price point, I think the handles are fantastic. The only thing that I don't like so much about it for bushcraft use, maybe for survival use, I do think that the jimping is a little bit more aggressive than I would like. I would like to see these edges be broken a little bit in the original cut of the jimping. Of course, I also would like to see a square spine. So let's talk about the sheath really quick, which I dropped. Oh, I'm sore today. All right, so we have a normal belt dangler. It rides on the belt nicely. We have fairly thin Kydex, not that I mind. This is not .080, but that's okay. Now our retention is a little bit weak. That is not going to cut it. If I take this and do, you know, and test the retention, we're going to launch this blade. That's not ideal. However, this Kydex is beautifully made. It's very nice. So what I could do is I could adjust the retention here with a bit of heat to get a little bit more retention. That could be very nice. I do have a couple other concerns here on as far as the sheath. The rivets, in my opinion, were not long enough to get a proper flare on the backside. So that's one thing we're going to look at in the long-term review is are we going to start having this sheath delaminate a little bit because as it gets hot or as it gets abused or whatever else, because these rivets don't get as much purchase as I personally would like. The edges on the sheath are not polished. They're not cleaned up or anything like that. I really don't care. I think they're acceptable, but some people expect that. So if you do expect that, know that they are not buffed and polished or whatever. And finally, I'd like to say I think this slot here is unnecessary and it's too weak. So because it's on this curve and because it's thin Kydex, you see I can push on this a little bit, but right here with the length and that's a little bit too much. So if I were going to give suggestions to the maker here, I would suggest focusing a little bit on your retention, get a little bit more retention in there, get a somewhat longer eyelet so that you can get more roll on the back side, and I would either eliminate this slot altogether or I would make sure I had a little more thickness on the outside there. Now these slots and these Kydex sheaths, they are nice. They can be very handy. They on almost no knife will they accept a ton of abuse. You can break them. So if this is your main mounting point and it's hard mounted and something just really hits it, they can break. The whatever goes through here, the webbing should hold the knife by the edge of the sheath. So like if you put the webbing in and behind and then back out, you could rip these things off relatively easy. That's not the right way to do that. So these are handy to use. These are good to have. This is a well-designed sheath. If you use it correctly, if you do not, you would break it. Overall, as a package, this knife, again, is about $170 shipped. I love it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So what I'm going to do is that in the description box below, we're going to have a link to Polish Custom Knives and to Zapas or Zapas, his Instagram, all of that. Check it out. Let me know what you think, and I'm excited to show you the other knife that I got from this website.